Hey everyone, today we're going to be doing another candle review. These are a blast. This was another candle sent in by one of you subscribers to check out and have it reviewed on the channel. In today's review, we're going to be doing a review of Mrs. C's Soap and Candle Company. Hi everyone, my name is Wade Thomas. I'm the owner of Black Tie Barn Candle Company. Before we get started, if you wouldn't mind taking a few quick seconds to give this video a thumbs up by hitting the like button below, as well as subscribe and also turn on notifications by hitting the bell icon as well. If you are interested in any other content like this or any other candle making or candle business content, then doing those three little things will make sure you don't miss anything in the future. Plus, it does really help me out and support the channel, so I really appreciate it. If you are new to one of these candle reviews, I've done several by now, and I would encourage you to check them all out, because in each one of those videos you might learn something a little bit new or a little bit different, because I don't really know the type of candles that are being sent to me until we do the review. So we do cover different types of waxes, different sizes and styles of jars, different labels, and in these reviews we take a look. It's kind of a two-part video. The first part of the video is really focused on unboxing, checking out the labeling, the branding, the jar, the look of the wax, trying to make some guesses on the type of wax and wick being used, talking about the cold throw, the fragrance, things like that. And then I will step away for about a week or two, do some testing on the candles, and then I'll come right back in the video and give you my feedback on how they burned, talk about hot throw, testing, wicks, and all of that. As a reminder that I offer in all of these review videos is just to keep in mind that this is completely voluntary. You all are sending me candles on your own just for a review on the channel. I really appreciate you all doing that. But I just want to remind everyone that my feedback is meant to be constructive and helpful and sometimes entertaining, and that it's all for fun, and that we're really just here to help each other out. Nothing's meant to be critical. I am by no means the expert in the candle making industry. So just keep all that in mind when we're doing these reviews, and remember that they're meant to be lighthearted. Let's go ahead and get started. First things we got here is two envelopes. I've got an open first and an open last. They've been a subscriber for a long time, and they've seen enough of my reviews to know that I like to make guesses, and then I like to kind of fact check myself, and it's fun just to see how far I was off on my guesses and how close I've been. Sometimes I nail them, and other times I'm not even close. Open first is obviously what we're going to do here real quick, just to get a basic information that they wanted to provide. And then the open last envelope is what we'll open after we've done all the testing, and then I do it in the second part of the video, and we'll have a little fun, see how close or how far off I was. Let's go ahead and open this one first before we take a look at the candles. First of all, very fancy, nice paper. They said that they are a small husband and wife team. They are based in Northern California community. The name of the company is Mrs. C's Soap and Candle Companies, and it's just to play off their last name. She says that her husband calls her Mrs. C, so we decided to go with that as the business name. Been making candles for last few years, learned a lot since we started, but looking for feedback to continue to improve their product. And then they said the second letter labeled open last has the details of the candle so you can check the accuracy of your guesses. That should be fun. And then a little PS, they included a bar of soap since that is what all started for them. And even though that I'm reviewing the candles, they wanted to send one as a token of appreciation. So thank you, Lori. I really appreciate that. That was really kind of you, but you definitely don't have to do that. I do this because it's just a blast, and I love helping everyone out, and I love running this channel. Thank you for participating. That being said, let's go ahead and dig in. Now this is a pretty big box, so I'm gonna try to get everything kind of out of the way first, so that the cameras can see it. Oh, well, this looks really nice in here. Okay, well, fancy. Oh, there's the bar soap. So that is what showed up in the box. Really nice. This is that cute little extra bar of soap, but you all get a chance to see that. Comes on this cute little sled, little bed basically. And it is a lavender swirl. Looks like cold processed soap would be my guess. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And again, you didn't have to do anything like that, but I do appreciate it and I will enjoy it. So thank you again. Let's go ahead and take a look at the candles. They showed up with these nice little boxes here with ribbon, so nice little touch. You're excited to open it right from the very beginning. So little things like that when a customer opens up the packaging, they're excited to go ahead and dig in a little bit further. So I really appreciate that. I really think it's nice. I will say, don't feel like you have to do that though for other new candle makers, especially those that aren't really sure where to start. You know, when I started off, I did a lot of those kind of fancy things as well. And then I slowly phased out some of them and kept a few things here and there. Because as you grow and as you scale, not only are you looking for ways to cut costs to save your customers money, also time becomes a commodity that you just don't have as much of when you first started. So You find ways to try to improve your efficiencies in your operations. And when you're really pumping out a lot of candles, a lot of orders, sometimes you just have to make some changes to how you do things in order to keep up with that demand. But that being said, when you have the time, when you have the opportunity to do it, these are really nice touches, and it does make the entire process a little bit more fun. So eeny, meeny, miny, mo, I'm gonna pick yellow. Matching crinkle paper to go with the ribbon, pretty good. On top is a candle care card. Actually, this is a really, really nice candle care card. I'm not sure if this is something they made themselves or if this is some kind of template or something they bought off someone on Etsy, but this is really nice looking. Nice little graphics. So well done on the care card. Because there's two candles, we're going to focus most of our time on the first one because a lot of the information like the labeling, the care cards, the packaging, all that's going to be the same on the second one, I would imagine. So we'll spend more time on the first one, less on the second, but we will cover the important parts. Let's go ahead and take this out. Gorgeous vessel, a frosted white container with a nice kind of black, I can't tell if it's wood or acrylic or what that is, but very nice looking jar, right up my alley. I actually love this kind of aesthetic, this kind of jar. I'm working on a couple new candles right now that have, and one of them has this jar, not this jar, but they kind of look similar to this. Let's talk about the label a little bit. Of course, they got their business name here at the top, and then this is a lemon cake flavored. So I'm glad I started with this one. While I'm not a cake fan, I love lemon, and lemon kind of makes everything better, in my opinion. So I know I'm going to enjoy this one already. And this is a 10-ounce candle, and they've got it both in net weight ounces and grams. Handcrafted coconut wax blend candle, and then their website on the bottom. So we already know that it's a coconut wax blend, but that doesn't tell us everything that's part of that wax blend. So we'll still make some guesses here, but I would imagine the majority, or at least a good portion of it, is going to be coconut, since that's on the label. Speaking of the label, let's talk about that a little bit more. It's hard to know without seeing the other candle yet whether or not there's going to be a theme here. So we saw that the box had a yellow ribbon with yellow crinkle paper, and then the color of this label is a off yellow color as well to match what I imagine is the theme or the scent of the candle. So I'll be curious if the pink one here that we're going to look at next is going to be the same thing. If that's the case, then I love what they're doing here by matching the look of the label, the color of the label with the fragrance. If it's not, and they just use yellow standard, I don't think they do. But if they use yellow standard for their standard label, I would probably prefer something different. I would prefer either potentially a white label or maybe a light gray label, even a black with white lettering. I don't know. There's a lot of different options here. You could even do a clear label since this is a white jar, and you could have it printed black. But again, I have a suspicion they're matching the color of the label itself with the fragrance. So if that's the case, I do really enjoy that. So overall, while very simplistic, I think the label does get the job done. And my favorite part is just that in big, bold, it clearly shows what the fragrance is. You know what it is right away. Now, the one thing I would talk about in the label is there are a little bit of some kind of bubbles, areas where the label doesn't want to stick very well. I don't know if you can see that on camera, especially if you're buying labels from like your local office store, like an Office Depot, Office Max, Walmart, or your Avery labels often will do this as well. There are good Avery labels, but some of the basic ones do have a tendency to do this. It's usually caused by moisture or temperature changes, humidity. What I would recommend if someone does want to print their labels at home, which is what most people do, especially starting out, because having rolls of labels printed by professional printing companies and sent to you, you got to order thousands or tens of thousands of units at a time, and it's just not a great way to start economically. But for everyone that does want to start off printing their labels at home, what I would recommend is something like onlinelabels.com. Just because the labels that you can hand choose, and you can select the specific labels that you want for your jars, the dimensions, the shape, but also the type of material you want the paper to be made out of. So they have water resistant, they have gloss, they have matte, they have all different options. So I would recommend checking them out. And you should be able to find labels where this doesn't end up being much of a problem. I've got way too many online labels packs. I started using them at first and I just had so many left, but I really never had any labels do this. And I attribute that to the type of labels that I'm buying. That's enough about the outside of the candle. I'm anxious to go ahead and take this lid off and see what we're working with. Oh, that smells good. That smells good. But before I get into the fragrance, let's start with some of the other visuals that we can see right off the bat. So the first thing that I wanted to point out was when I first opened this lid, I swore it was sweating. I thought I was seeing fragrance oil on the top, which does have a tendency to happen with either soft waxes that are very, very soft, or if you use too much fragrance oil on waxes that can't hold that much, you can start sweating some of that fragrance out. And when I first opened this, that's what I thought I was seeing. I don't know if the camera will be able to pick up what I'm seeing. I saw little dots and they looked like fragrance oil, but I don't think it is. I think it's because it's coconut wax, or at least a portion of coconut wax. Coconut wax does have a tendency to kind of have it's almost a greasy, very, very soft, silky texture sometimes, and it can sometimes give this appearance. So I'm going to assume that that's what it is, because when I touch it, I don't actually feel anything, and typically if it's sweating, you would feel the liquid, the fragrance oil droplets, and I don't really feel anything. It's just really, really soft. But I would probably suggest double checking that to make sure that that isn't actually fragrance oil leaking out. If it is, you might dial back the fragrance oil load just a little bit, or raise the temperature that you're pouring or that you're blending the fragrance oil in at. Now, the other thing I noticed, and this is not important in this jar because this jar is opaque. It's not clear, so you're not seeing this, but it doesn't have great jar adhesion. It has pulled away from the jar a bit, which is not common with coconut wax. Coconut wax is very soft and it really likes to just fill the entire jar wall to wall. Some soy waxes are great about that, like 464 does the same thing. Other soy waxes have a tendency to shrink and it will pull away from the sides. So whatever wax blend this is specifically, I'm assuming that it's the soy that caused it to pull away a little bit. But again, if you're using this jar, if this is your style and your candles, then it's not even a problem, which is one of the benefits of using jars that are not clear, is no one cares. Now let's talk about the wick a little bit before I move on to the fragrance. Now, again, the label tells us it's a coconut wax blend. If I had to guess, I would say it's either a coconut soy blend or maybe even a coconut apricot blend. I know that that sounds like a safe answer. And that's because it is. We already know it's a coconut wax blend, so there's not a whole lot of guessing I can do here. I definitely can't tell you what specific blend it is. There are hundreds of coconut wax blends out there. Here's what I will say about the wick though. This would be my guess. A lot of people, when they are using coconut wax or coconut wax blends, flock to CDN wicks. They're very similar to CD wicks, but the CDN has a different treatment on the wick itself, and it's supposed to help it against some of those corrosive properties of soy and coconut and other wax blends. I'm going to go with the CDN wick. Here's where I'm just going to have to take a shot in the dark on the size. I've used CDN wicks before, and in jars that were smaller than this, and I was using like a CDN 10, but the jars that I were using were smaller, but it had a wax that was firmer and harder to burn than coconut wax is. So in my jar, I probably would have needed a larger wick than this one, but this one is also a larger jar. So I would probably have to say a CDN 12 if it is a CDN. And same thing if it's a CD, I'd probably say CD 10 or 12 or 14. Somewhere in that range. I know that's kind of a range there, but my guesses would be CDN 12 if I had to pick a specific one, and a CD 12 if I had to pick a specific one. We'll see when I get to the top secret envelope at the end of this video how far off I am. Let's talk about the fragrance. Oh my gosh, I've been waiting to talk about the fragrance. Okay, it's definitely lemon, but it's a soft lemon. It's not overpowering lemon like a lemongrass. I don't know that I'm smelling cake necessarily, but or specifically, but it's definitely a lemon food. So what it actually smells like to me is the lemon shortbread cookies, the Girl Scout cookies. I don't know what they're called, but those little lemon ones. Those are my favorite. I would eat an entire box of those in one sitting. I don't even buy any other, I don't really buy Girl Scout cookies to be honest, but I always just load up on the lemon ones. That's exactly what these smell like. So, but you know what? Let's get a second opinion on that. What do you think about this, Alan? Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, I could eat it. Oh yeah, me too. I think what Alan's trying to say is that it smells good enough to eat, and he's onto something there. It is very, very good. I mean, you kind of want a spoon just to, but don't eat your candles. I'm very anxious to burn this one. The cold throw is above average, I would say. I don't know how much fragrance oil is in this. Most coconut wax blends can hold somewhere around up to 10%. It's usually not advisable to max out the fragrance load, so I would imagine somewhere between 8 and 10%. With lemon being pretty powerful, I would say definitely probably 8 or 9%. Let's go ahead and open up the second one. Same deal here. We got a nice little candle care card and of course the perfectly matched crinkle cut paper with the ribbon. Is that not cute or what? All right, and as suspected, the label does match the crinkle cut paper and the ribbon. I love the way you're doing the labels. Like I said, I wasn't sure if you were going to have one standard color or if you're just going to pick kind of a pastel for each fragrance to match the packaging, and you are matching it, and it looks really, really good. I mean, if you put both these together, it's simple but elegant, and I really, really enjoy the look of these candles. And this one is called Just Peachy. Man, are you guys like sucking up or what? Because I love lemon and I love peach, and I know I've mentioned that on the channel. So I love peach just as much as I love lemon. Oh my God, that smells so good. It definitely smells peachy. In fact, it smells exactly like those little peach rings, other peach candies. Oh my God, it's so good. It is so good. I would ask Alan what he thinks, but he might actually eat it this time. Yep, sure would. I really hope the hot throw is as good as the fragrance is here in the cold throw. Okay, so the same deal inside this one. There is some kind of texture things that look like little bubbles that might have been fragrance. Now, it could, I should have said this before, it's not moist on top. Ooh, I probably shouldn't say moist. There's so many people hate that word. Anyways, it doesn't have any kind of feeling on the top. Like I'm not feeling any liquid, but I should have said this earlier. The fragrance definitely could have seeped out a little bit, and then it just kind of rehardened. So I would still use I would still take the advice of that I gave you earlier, that just make sure that your fragrance oil isn't actually seeping out at all into your candles. But other than that, the texture is great. They are smooth. They look good. They smell fabulous. I'm going to assume on the wick on this one that it's the same CDN 12 or a CD 12, somewhere in that range. We'll see how close I am, but I do love the appearance of this wax. One thing I really like about coconut wax blends is they do have that light or that more white color. And so they do look really, really good on their own. No need to dye these candles whatsoever. I think it's a perfect choice of not dyeing these and then using the color on your label and your packaging. You all know me and my products. I have candles that are not dyed. I have a lot of candles that are dyed. It just depends on the situation, the candle, the brand, whatever you're going for with that particular product. I think you guys made a perfect choice on both of these candles as far as the aesthetics go and the fragrance oil and the fragrance options. I'm going to be checking out your site. I'm curious on what other fragrance options you have. Both of these are food-based. A lot of people will have a lot of food type fragrances when it comes to the fall. And then they'll have some woodsy ones when it comes to winter, and then they have floral ones when it comes to summer. And so I'm just curious what other fragrance options you have. I know you've been doing this for a few years, so I'm imagining you probably have quite a few. But I do love both of these that you sent me. I'm very anxious to test them both out. They smell absolutely amazing in the containers. And I can't wait to get started burning them. To wrap this part of the video up, I just wanted to say that I didn't talk about it earlier, but I love the actual packaging, the boxing. They arrived perfectly safe. The box had plenty of packaging in it, plus they were packed inside of another box, so no issues with packaging whatsoever. I would have no concerns about shipping these at any point, any time. They both arrived in good shape. I think you just did a really, really good job on this. So I'm not surprised you were able to continue doing this for a few years. I will step away now, and I'll be back here in just a minute, and we'll talk about how they burned, my feedback on the wicks, the performance, the hot throw, and then I'll leave you with some overall thoughts. All right, guys, it's time. This is the fun part. If you remember the first part of the video, if you remember, it was literally 30 seconds ago for you guys. I forgot, sorry. It's been like a week for me, or a week and a half. You know, the first envelope said open first. It was really just an introduction to themselves and their business and the type of products they make and what they're sending me for review and just thanking me for the opportunity and so on. And then they mentioned the open last envelope, this top secret one with all the answers to my guesses. And you guys know I love to do the guesses, so I like when you guys send me these products, and you know, sometimes you got to share some information at the beginning. Otherwise, I got to know what we're working with in general, right? But I like to try to guess on some of the details, particularly the wick, the fragrance, sometimes the wax, whatever comes up. But anyways, it's time. Oh wait, you know what? Not yet. Let's talk about how the candles burned. I almost forgot for a second, the entire part of this section of the video is to talk about how the candles burned when I tested them. So we'll get to this here in just a minute. So we had the lemon cake and the Just Peachy. Now, I love both of those fragrances. I mentioned that before. I like fruity. I love lemon. I love lemon everything. So I fully expected the lemon to be my favorite of the two. And it was good. It was good. Very good. I like the peach better though. I really, really like the peach a lot. I mean, peach is peach, right? I mean, there's nothing shocking about how it smells. You know what you're getting, but I just like it so much, and it burned so well. So that's really what I want to talk about too. Let's start with the lemon cake candle first though, and it did burn good. So I don't want anyone to think that I like the peach because it just burned good and the lemon didn't. The lemon cake candle burned just fine. Hot throw was good. It wasn't as strong as the peach was, which was a little shocking to me. Lemon is usually pretty potent, and maybe they used a little bit less fragrance in that one because of that reason. I'm not sure. It was totally fine, like it was strong, but it wasn't as strong as I thought it might be, especially for the size of the candle. But it did a good job filling the living room. That's where I had it burning most of the time. I do alternate where the candles set, so I can get a fair assessment to each one, but I would say the lemon cake burned most of the time in the living room, and it did great. So if I had to recommend anything on this particular candle, it would be potentially wicking down one size. I'm guessing that they use the same wick on both candles. I could be completely wrong. So my suggestion would be on the lemon one is to potentially wick down one size. Like, just give it a shot. It may not work. It may not be better. You may have the best option, but I think it's worth a shot. It burned fine overall, but the flame did get kind of large and hot several times throughout the burn. Nothing like crazy where I would say this is a fail candle or anything like that. But we're all looking to always tweak and maybe make little changes to improve our candles even just a little bit. So my suggestion would be whatever wick you chose, maybe try one size smaller and see if you get any better results. Otherwise, the candle burned great. So let's talk about just peachy. This one's hot throw was incredible. Some of those fruity scents can be hit or miss. When they're strong, they can be quite strong, and other times they can be hard to get them to throw pretty well. But it just kind of depends. This peach was, holy cow. I mean, it could knock your socks off. It was very, very strong. So I had it in a very open kind of kitchen, dining room, breakfast area, walk out to the deck area by the fireplace area. It's a big area this candle is burning in, and I could smell it easily. Could smell this the entire floor. So really good job with the hot throw. Definitely no issues there. And like I said, I love the scent. And then also the wicking was great. At least in my case, the peach burned perfectly. Always remember that, the disclaimer in all of these review testing videos, is these are the results based off of my testing and my feedback. It could be different for other people. So just always keep that in mind. But for me, the peach one burned perfect. It ended up being my favorite. Not a huge surprise because I like peach, but I did think I was gonna like the lemon better, and so I was a little surprised. All in all, before we get to the top secret envelope, I just wanna say again, thank you very much for sending in the candles. I really appreciate you wanting me to review these on the channels and trusting my feedback on them. You did a great job. The packaging was wonderful. The color theme, changing the label to match, changing the label background to match. The fragrance was great. The jars are gorgeous. The hot throw was good on both candles, and really good job on wicking overall as well. But let's go ahead and get to the details. Nice fancy paper once again. I remember that from the previous one. As I was about to open this, I just realized I'm not entirely sure what I guessed. I know for you guys, you could just quickly look back. For me, it's been almost 2 weeks, so I'm not entirely sure what I guessed. But I'm pretty sure because it was a coconut blend and the size of the jar, I'm taking a look at the wick, I'm pretty sure I guessed it was a CDN 12 was my best guess. And if that was wrong, maybe a CD 12. I believe my rough guess was like around a CDN 12 or CD 12. So let's go ahead and dive in. All right, candle details. They go straight to the facts here. And not all the details in here were something we guessed on because we knew what some of it was potentially on the label or just looking at it. But it was a 13.5 ounce jar. The actual weight of the candle is a 10-ounce candle. That makes sense. The wax is, so we knew it was coconut blend as it said on the label, but it's actually IGI 6046, which is a coconut soy wax blend. I believe I said it was either coconut soy or coconut apricot, but those were just safe, like logical answers, right? So it's nice to know it was a IGI 6046 for any of you that was wanting to know the specific blend. There you go. Oh, okay, the wick type. Almost nailed it, almost nailed it. It is a CDN 10. I said 12. The fragrance oil percentage was 9%. I would have guessed probably 9 or 10%, so that makes sense to me. The lemon cake is actually a blend of 2 different fragrance oils. They didn't say which ones, but I'm assuming lemon and cake. And then peach is a single fragrance oil. So like I said, with peach, you know peach when you smell it. So once again, thanks for sending these in. That's a lot of fun. I love doing the fact checking at the end. And I'm gonna give myself an A on this one. I think I got it pretty good on those. Thanks again for watching this review and checking out the candles. And thank you for sending them in. For anyone else that's interested in doing the same, just let me know in the comment section. Shoot me an email at youtube@blacktiebarn.com and we will go from there. These are a lot of fun to do. Not only are they entertaining and fun to do the guest checking and all of that, but we also learn a little bit from each other as we do it. So thank you all for being here. Stay tuned for the next video and I will see you next time.